We can always ship some down by you.
No, thanks.
Sure. Christmas in Florida?
It's not a white Christmas, that's for sure.
Well, Jeff, if you want, when we're waiting for Lewis, we can always make some quick announcements. You know, any
Sure.
PSA and Waco news and any field trips. I know we were thinking about the field trip to the zoo and a couple other ones.
Yep. Yeah.
Got still
Just
another
a minute here, and
Yeah,
7 o'clock.
I'm sorry, according to Brian, I mean, I think we had scheduled the zoo inside trip or tentatively for April, but he said March 16th. For the inside trip to the zoo would work out better where zoo opens at 9:30 and they would meet at 10 o'clock in the gathering area just inside the front entrance.
Well, that's a suggestion, open for
Oh, okay.
discussion and
I'm sorry, I didn't see your teeny tiny picture anywhere, so I didn't know if you were here or not.
Well, the question is, how does that sound to the group to do the zoo? And the weather's been warm, and I just thought let's get out. It gives us something to do in the month of March. It's kind of late notice, but gives us something to do because we had nothing on the schedule for field trips in March.
Right.
And the response is silent. Okay.
It's silent. Maybe people will be busy taking pictures of flowers. I know locusts or crocuses are starting to come up. They're already 3 inches up at home already here.
You're getting your locust and crocus mixed up. I think the locust will come out in a month or so, Clint,
Wonderful.
and you'll be able to hear those.
Maybe they're both out at the same time. Who knows? One of those flower things.
Yeah.
Well, can we get back to the subject of when we want to go to the zoo?
Yes, we can do that.
Brian, what date did you think of?
I proposed Saturday, March 16th at meet at the zoo at 10 a.m. The zoo opens at 9:30, and the weather's been good. And I just thought to give us something to do in the month of March since there's nothing else on our field trip calendar for March. So that's kind of where I was coming from. So this is primarily zoo inside. Of course, you're welcome to go anywhere you want, but I don't think many of the animals will be outside, though I've heard that the bears are coming out of hibernation. So I think, do the aviary, small mammals, just all those houses would be to be indoors. So I was in the aviary today and there's a lot going on there. Primates is always a rich opportunity. So I'd like to get out and do some shooting. So I don't know if I just thought that's my suggestion, kind of the reasoning for it.
So Brian, this is Steve Weingarth. I'd be open to the idea because I also need an excuse to get out and shoot some pictures.
Well, we have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I guess not.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Are you gonna buy us all cotton candy if we show up?
Okay, good. Sorry, I didn't mean to steal your thunder, but I just wanted to get it moving here. So,
No, that's good. No, thank you.
and then as Ellen was talking about, I think at our last meeting, I recall that we had agreed on Shady Lane on Saturday, May 11th. Saturday, May 11th. We came to that after some discussion. They open at 9 a.m., so we can be there right at 9 a.m., I would propose. So we'll just go with that since we agreed at that at February, as I recall.
Yeah, and I apologize to Brian already because I overlooked it, but
Yeah, it's okay.
Was
So
sending
anyway, so we'll get that on the calendar too. So now we've got a March event and a May event for Camera Club. Get out and start doing some shooting. Since there's no ice up at Port Washington.
Oh, nice. Jeff, did Lewis come in yet?
Nope, not yet.
Okay. Well, anyone needs to make any announcement like PSA and any Waco news?
Well, Wacko, spring competition is open. The special categories are for open special theme, it's sunrise and sunset. For nature special theme, and I drew a blank.
Flowers.
Flowers. But they have to be shot outside in a natural spot, not in a studio. Closing date is the middle of April, right around text time. So get your images uploaded. It's a good time to see. There's 8 sections total, so all parts of the image have to be your own. None of it can be made up by AI. So that's about the only qualification these days. Although we are working on a better qualification with so much of AI being involved in all parts of processing the image. So we'll need to worry about that sooner or later.
Any news on digital form?
Digital Forum, this month we have Kelly Jones. He's a diver, and he's going to be talking about underwater photography, and he's going to talk about how to do it with the least amount of spending, and then also how you can spend a whole ton of money and do it. He's got some really interesting pictures. He's a Kelby One photographer, speaker. So I saw him do one thing and emailed and talked to him on the phone, and he was just thrilled to be able to come and talk with us because he just loves to talk photography and underwater photography. So that's March. April we have
Russell Graves.
Yeah, Russell Graves on mono photography. And then I'm still messed up with all the stuff I did with, we got the last guy is talking about how to photograph nature images to win full photo contests. So should be a good couple of months. Then we'll probably be going more to just doing Q&A. And for the summer, since so many people are gone on that weekend. And then in fall, we'll start up a little heavier with speakers again.
Okay, that's
I list the speakers in the newsletter on page 9 of the upcoming speakers for Digital Forum.
Yeah. And I hope everybody that joined the March seminar with Steve Gettle thought it was pretty good, hopefully. The video is up so you can watch it again whenever you get the time. For the next month it will be up. You should be getting speaker notes relatively soon, if not already. Did anybody get the speaker notes yet?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a general outline of what he went over.
Okay. I got to email him because it'd be nice if he'd send me the speaker notes. But because yeah, I didn't get it. Did everybody who went? Did you get? You undoubtedly got the Zoom link from Zoom, right?
Yeah.
And did you guys bypass the Eventbrite link like I said in the emails?
Yeah.
Did you get emails from Eventbrite?
Yes.
Okay. Because Eventbrite's been working rather strangely lately. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
tried
not
it,
quite sure.
Frank, and it didn't work very well. So
yeah. So that's why I had said in the emails, skip Eventbrite and just use the Zoom link that we sent out. So
right.
So yeah, other than that, that's we're working on, and we're always looking for speakers, ideas for speakers and ideas for subjects. So no, Topaz Sharpen AI is not a banned one because it's AI, and that's what we'll be talking about. As long as the photos are your own photos and not something that was created by AI, you're fine. So yeah, all the Topaz products, all the Luminar products, on one photo products, you can do all that, but all parts of the photo have to be your own.
Alan?
We will be having a video soon, I think, that's going to explain a lot of that stuff.
Alan, do you have to make any announcements or anything? Or is everything okay?
Yeah, I think we're going to, at the August meeting, we'll discuss
Okay.
the fall festival, or the fall arts thing for possibly next year. Let me
Okay.
get back to the rep and do that, but we really have nothing put together, and I'd hate to go in haphazard and just like winging it, because I don't think you're going to do the best you can if you do. So
I
something
think we,
in the future.
yeah, I think we can do it, but you know, we've been dragging our feet on that. But okay, well, I think that's the best decision.
Well, yeah,
So,
because all of a sudden it's March. I'm
yep.
technically, I'm not going to be, I've got a lot of stuff going on until the end of April, and that's just not, to get people together to figure out exactly what we're going to do. So
Yep.
I will talk to the rep at the fall festival and see possibly next year if the same situation may occur. And by then, by the August board meeting, we might have something a little bit more concrete and specific about how we could go about it. So I think that's probably the best path for us to take at this particular point.
Okay, that's good. Thank you for all your
Yeah, and there
input.
might be other things that we can do. If we want to promote the club, we might work with maybe putting a table up, if we want to do something like that, at the historical park when they have events going on. And there's a number of events, and we can certainly work out some deals with getting people in and getting them. They're looking for photos. Now this part gets a little strange because it's only there's only certain ones, and I'm just pulling up their agenda. But they have a World War I days coming up. They have a World War II day coming up.
The Civil War days.
No, that's the other part of, that's a different part of Menomonee
Oh.
Falls Historical Society.
Okay.
They have Revolutionary War days. They're going to have Renaissance Fair going, and they also are going to have a sci-fi day. So it's rather different how they're splitting this up. There's actually two groups putting on stuff at the historical park. One is the Menomonee Falls Historical Society, and the other is Friends of Old Falls Village.
Jeff,
Oh, okay.
Jeff,
Yeah,
I know the president of Friends. I could talk to him about this.
I'm on the board.
Oh, are you on the
for
board with
Friends.
this? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yep.
So you know
got-
Richard.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just had a long 4-hour meeting with them today, talking about what maybe our club could do and what WACO might be able to do. And they're definitely looking for pictures, so we can maybe see if we can help them out. But I think they might be willing to give us a table there that we could have somebody sitting there and giving photo advice for taking pictures at these things and handing out brochures. And then,
Okay.
probably flip people out. I haven't talked to them about it, but other than saying that we would work to see what we can do. But yeah, they've got quite a few different things, and they're looking to raise a lot of money. to make the historical park better. And it's rather a strange situation on how it works over there, but they do have quite a few events coming this summer. And there'll be quite a few events coming from Menomonee Falls Historical Society as well.
Well, thank you for looking into that, Jeff, for us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to have these really great, wonderful opportunities, hopefully.
Well,
So
yeah, and I figure considering we're Menomonee Falls group, if we can help the historical park, which has a lot of interesting stuff, and with all the reenactors that are going to be there on those different weekends, it should be a great way to be able to get photos and a great way to promote the club.
yeah, we had
Where do they have? Where do they have that event? Those events, Jeff?
I just dropped it. They don't have them completely locked in yet because they're waiting to get some final approval. What was that? Where did it go?
I mean, where?
It's at Menomonee Falls Historical Park. Old Falls Village is what they call it. There is a whole bunch of buildings on there.
Pilgrim and County Line Road.
Yeah.
Right in the corner.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
right in
okay.
Menomonee Falls on the corner between the edge of Germantown and the falls.
Okay, okay, thank you.
And entry fee to get in for this stuff is relatively inexpensive. It's $10 or $15 a person. So, and we might be able to work a deal with them if we're going to supply photos. I'll talk to Richard about that.
Yeah, because the one member that we had, he had some really phenomenal pictures from there of like the Civil War and that, and it was just really high quality pictures. There was black and white pictures too. It was really nice.
Yeah, the reenactors, and with all the different periods that they're going to be reenacting, it should be a fun place to be able to shoot, all summer.
Be a great exercise in black and white photography.
Yeah. So I'll get more information as everything gets locked into place with them, and we'll see if we can, help each other out.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you. Jeff, did Lewis come back in yet?
Nope.
Oh, well, then maybe either Dominic or Joe could maybe do their slideshow.
Yeah, might as well. I don't know. Maybe Lewis thinks we're starting with him at 8 o'clock. I lost all my emails that I sent to him, so I don't know. But
Joe,
yeah, why don't we?
You're on mute. Clint, you want me to go ahead?
Doesn't matter which one. If you want to flip a coin, go ahead.
Go ahead, Joe. I'll follow
Thank
Joe.
you.
Well, let me jump in here. Oh, I gotta get rid of this. There we go. All right. Well, let me see if I've only got one picture showing up. Hold on.
Probably your arrow keys will move it to the next one, but yeah, we're not seeing the whole photo. We're only seeing parts of it.
Parts of it disappeared here. One more time. Come on. We were talking about black and white a minute ago. I think all I have tonight are black and white. Nothing like the good old train down in Chicago. Look it up.
Yeah, it's cutting it off quite a bit.
I got a full
I don't know why, because it should just be filling your screen.
It is on my, well, it is on mine.
Yeah, for us, when we see it, we're only seeing parts of it. At least I'm only seeing parts of it. What about everybody?
I think I see the whole picture.
Okay, no, okay. It's just my one screen is going weird. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're fine. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Thank you. That's in Croatia. Oh, come on. I don't know why it's not going to the next one. All right. Well, I ran through this twice today. It didn't have a problem.
It's got stage fright.
Evidently. Okay. Now, when it was bitter cold up here in Cedarburg, about a month and a half, 2 months ago, I got out there in that cold weather and snapped the old covered bridge. I had several comments on it. Some people think I should have got rid of the power lines, but I like them. So I'm going to leave them. This is another road, Pleasant Valley Road, not too far from where I live. And I've always liked the look of these trees, and I was glad to get this picture with the snow on them. Made a very nice little road. This is a private piece of property, and this is normally a horse path that runs through the trees. And this one, I didn't even have to get out of the car. I just pulled off to the side of the road, and there it was. This is in southern Spain. We were walking down the hill, and that little house just grabbed my attention, so I snuck a picture of it. I love the leading lines with the fence and the walkways here. That was a very windy, cold day. It's not a great picture, but it kind of told the tale. That's also in Spain. Some of you have probably heard of Granada. Up here at the top, just around the church, right in this area, looking behind you or looking at the camera here, that would be the Granada Moorish buildings. That's a nice little cafe about midnight. They had just closed up, and it had been raining a little bit. So I snapped a quick one of that one. That's up at the old Wade House near Plymouth. This was an old mill where they used to bring in the logs and do whatever they wanted to with them. That's a Limekiln Park over here in Grafton, just outside of Cedarburg. And this old bridge here below the tree, it doesn't perform any function. They wanted to save it, so they just brought it in and covers a nice little ditch. That's out of my living room window. It's one of our little paths in the woods. Anybody know this place? Budapest, the Parliament building. You've seen so many great pictures of this with those bright colors and all of this. We were walking on the other side of the river, and I decided to do a little different orientation to what it typically is shown.
Joe,
Yeah.
did you go across the Iron Bridge?
Oh, yeah.
Did you notice anything about the lions?
What specifically?
It's missing a vital part in its head.
Well, this was a couple of years ago, so probably maybe
the sculptor forgot to put the tongue in.
Well, that's bad.
Yeah.
This is down in North Carolina. The famous, I forgot the name of it right now, but
Biltmore Estate.
thank you. I thought I'd do a little Halloween treatment to it. It's a lot different than what it looked like, of course, with the black and white. And this is on the top of a building down at Oschlitz Park, downtown Milwaukee. It just caught my attention. I like the chimneys on it. And I believe that's it.
Nice, thank you.
Yep.
Well, Dominic, if you're ready, go right ahead.
Sure, let me try. So I put together a slideshow with some music. If people have questions about the pictures, then I can do it a little or afterwards. So let's see here. We see share for video and on my desktop. Okay, let's try this and see. How do I maximize this?
We got it.
There we go. Okay, let me know if everyone can hear it when I start.
Sounds good.
And that's it.
Nice. Nice. Thank you.
Very nice.
Anyone, any questions, or I just hand it back?
Very nice.
How long a period of time did you capture all those? How many?
So the first two were from Ireland when I lived there. So that's about 20 years ago. But the rest of them have been probably over the last, since 2016, 2017, since I've started to get back into photography.
Very nice. Great shots.
Oh, the
Awesome.
US.
Well, Jeff, if Lewis is not here, I can do my.
He's not coming back. I just checked my emails, and he lost all of his internet. Just went down by him, and it doesn't seem to be coming back anytime quick. So he's going to want to reschedule. He's been having problems with it on and off all day, and it just dropped, and it just isn't coming back this time. So, Clint, why don't you go and do the your President's Challenge?
Yeah.
And then we'll come up with what we'll do next. I'm just emailing him back to let him know that we understand, and we'll see what we can do to reschedule.
Yep, no technology. Well, thank you for taking care of that for us, Jeff, and that.
Yeah.
And sorry about that for everyone. So, all right, well, let me share my screen. We'll do the slideshow presentation of low light photography. Share, share with sound, and then let's go here. All right, here we go. All right, well, I guess that's it for the slideshow presentation. Hopefully everyone liked the pictures in that. Thank you for submitting them too.
I don't, I'm on my wrong computer. Do we have any months available? Ellen, do you know the schedule for the rest of the year? We don't have that many meetings left, actually.
Give me a moment.
I've got that on my computer upstairs, not on my downstairs computer. Because we'll have to look to see. We got two options that we can do. If we don't have any months, I don't remember. Next month we have, I believe it's Mike Moats for April.
We could also eliminate the post-processing technique.
Yeah, that's May, right?
That's May, yeah.
All right.
And then show and tell would be in June. I mean, Doors and Gates are all members show.
Yeah.
But yeah, we don't. Right. So Mike Moats is April. May is post-processing, but since that's mostly volunteers and we don't have any volunteers yet, so that could easily be slipped out, you know.
Yeah, I'll see if he can do the May meeting, and if he can't, then we'll just do the post-processing. And we can get enough people to do that out of this group, I think.
We have in the past, so I don't think that's a problem. Yeah. And not only that, but knowing this group, that's still in May, so nobody really will volunteer.
Yeah.
Until
we'll know that we can worry about it next month. By next month, I'll know whether he can do May or not. And if he can't do May, we have two choices then in May. We could either do the post-processing or we could just do our normal critique with the photos that we've got. So, because I've got a copy of them here.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. So that would probably be, because otherwise you're switching Mike Moats and that would be,
that'd be too hard to do.
Yeah.
We got Mike dialed in. I'm not going to change him.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the right call.
Yeah.
And I can't believe we're actually really coming down to the end real quick. I mean, next month is already April and May. It's like, what? It's like, oh yeah, I guess it is. It doesn't feel like it though, because it's, you know, it's kind of whacked out with the weather too in it, because it feels like it's May, how warm it's been lately.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a strange season all the way around. So
and seeing things have been a little warm. Brian Jensen. I know we were trying to come down to the call it planetarium, but checking out the moon, checking out Saturn, Jupiter, stuff like that. Maybe we can plan something like that if that's possible, if that's out.
Sure, we could do that. I was thinking probably in fall, because right now Jupiter is setting, Saturn's a morning object. So I'd like to do it probably towards fall when Jupiter and Saturn will both be high in the sky, so we can look at them. And
okay,
I'll pick a night with the moon.
Okay. Well, thank you for trying to work with it. I know it worked with the clouds, the bad weather.
I think Jupiter and Saturn have their own path too, so you have to kind of respect where they're going to be if you want to get some good photos or some good visuals.
Yeah, it's always hard when stuff is weather dependent too. Yeah. Never fails when you plan something, that's when it clouds up.
Exactly.
Technology is great until it ain't,
Yep.
Ellen, as long as I got you here, I just want to check. Our July meeting is going to be July 2nd. Is that correct?
And that's what I had set it up as, right? That's what we had figured, because it's before the 4th, or usually we had it after the 4th, but.
All right. I want to make sure that I rent the pavilion.
Does anybody have trouble with July 2nd? And I'm guessing that's a no.
Okay, well then I'll take care of that.
Okay.
You know, I think that's kind of a bad week, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, because people might take off, that Monday and then Tuesday have a long weekend because then what, the 3rd would be a Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
4th of July is on Thursday, so.
So are we
Either
looking at the
can-
9th then, the next
You
week?
could move it to the 9th if you wanted, I suppose.
I think
Here-
that's probably better.
Here's another thing, and I don't know if Menomonee Falls is going to be affected by it, but the Republican convention is somewhere. I mean, that's why there's no July 4th fireworks in Milwaukee. When is the Republican convention? Is it end of July?
I think it's the 13th.
That shouldn't
July
affect.
13th or June 13th?
July.
July.
Yeah, it starts on July 10 and goes through the 18th. So it's actually the 15th through the 18th, but there's going to be people here on the 10th apparently.
Yeah,
Well-
I don't think that's gonna make much difference,
Yeah, I
to
don't
what
think
we're doing.
I don't think the
The
convention's
hotels
gonna have
may
a
be
party
booked,
at the
but-
park in the, Rotary Park. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. And as long as we get it booked, then it shouldn't be a problem.
No, it's
So-
open right now, so I'll go for the 9th.
Yeah, I think that's a better choice.
Okay,
Okay. I don't have a
Okay.
problem with that, yeah.
I have a question about, for Ellen and Jeff, how do we want to advertise the March outing, March 16? You want me to
Well, I
generate
can-
something and give that to you, or do you have enough to
Yeah,
make it go?
Yeah, send me the info and I'll send an email out right away.
Okay,
Thank you, Brian and Jeff.
Okay.
And thank you for coordinating this with the zoo, Brian.
you're welcome, yeah.
July 9th. Rotary Park. All right,
That was what, March 16th is what we're doing for the zoo?
March
Yes.
16th at 10 a.m., meet it there. Zoo opens at 9:30, so I figured give us half an hour to get in. We'll meet in the welcoming area in the US Bank building. Main entrance inside.
That isn't one of their free
No, it's
Saturday
not.
things,
No,
is
it's
it?
always the first Saturday.
Okay. Because I hear they're having problems with getting so many people coming with this nice weather.
Yeah, it was a big problem Saturday. There were just cars were parking on the on-ramps and it was just a mess. It was a mess.
Yeah.
Volunteers had to park, miles away, walk in, and I'll
Wow.
never volunteer on a free day again.
Yeah.
No, it's a great idea, but it's causing some problems.
Okay. I'm just working my mind quick trying to figure out what we can do for the next hour.
Well, you know what? We can have an open discussion right now, roundtable, if anyone's having any problems or any tips or hints for a little bit.
Well, yeah, I can do some stuff with Lightroom and Photoshop if people want.
Ooh,
You
can
like
I
what-
ask about that? Jeff, I was
Sure.
just on vacation. I don't know if anybody else is interested. And I had my laptop that I put all my Lightroom and I moved it to the Lightroom that was web-based. Now trying to
Okay.
import it into my desktop on my just Lightroom Classic, which I prefer. I've watched every YouTube, every video, and I'm stuck. I'm ready to just start reprocessing. I would love to see that, but I don't know if anybody else has that challenge or if it's just me.
Yeah, it's not meant to do that.
Oh, well, okay then. Thank you. That's all I needed.
Yeah, but you're not. Depending on what you did and how you have it set up. Do you have all the images on on a separate hard drive or on the computer
No,
itself?
just on my laptop. I put it on my laptop,
Okay.
and then I did it on the cloud-based one, hoping to move it to my desktop.
Yeah,
with all
but you didn't
edits.
move the images to the cloud. You kept it all on your computer?
As I loaded it, it was the Lightroom cloud-based that I used it to.
But they, with the Lightroom cloud-based, or what they call just Lightroom, you have a section that I can start that one up.
Yeah, if you
And if this is too
that you
elementary, I can always talk to you later. 'cause I need
No,
help.
it's probably something good because a lot of people are starting to think of using just Lightroom and not Lightroom Classic for a lot of stuff.
You have to get it. You have to get it to an album, right, Jeff? You have to get it to an album, and then you can see collections.
Sort of, but not. If you put it in an album, then it goes into the cloud. Let me see if I can get this.
Okay. Then you can see it in your collections.
So this is regular Lightroom. This is not Lightroom Classic. You have two choices. You've got your cloud-based stuff, and then you can also access just your hard drive, any hard drive, which really makes this a versatile application. So, Linnea, where did you, since you don't import or do anything with Lightroom, you just accessed it using the local drive?
Oh, that's a good question, Jeff. I wish I could answer you. I just imported. So, and I'm on my laptop right now because my desktop's having issues. So I don't know. I'd actually have to look into that.
Okay,
But
well,
what would you
Lightroom doesn't have an import. The mobile version doesn't do an import. So,
wow.
So you've got a choice of putting stuff into the cloud, which you have a very low amount of cloud storage. If you're, but you do have it on the local drive, and you can go and find, you know, pick out a drive that you have it. You know, if you have it on your desktop in a folder, are the images still somewhere on your desktop laptop?
Yeah, but you know what, Jeff? Because I haven't exported any of them, I do think it must have been on the cloud because I did run out of storage space.
Okay.
You know, like all of a sudden the red or the cloud became red saying, you know, you're
because you only get about 20 gigabytes worth of storage space in the cloud when you have the Lightroom Classic version. But the thing is, you have this local drive where you just leave it on the computer and you're able to access any of these local folders like any browser, and you can do work on it. And as long as it's on your desktop, you can then import it from your desktop into Lightroom Classic. You know, is your other computer, is it on another computer that you have Lightroom Classic?
Yes.
Okay. So you would need to get the images that are on your laptop onto some sort of drive, and then any of the adjustments that you might have made should be on those images.
Okay.
You would have the ones that you sent to the cloud, you would actually have to export those out to the drive, and then you could import all that stuff into Lightroom Classic.
Does
So
that
that's-
local drive, can that be a, like a, external USB drive?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it can be
external
any
hard drive.
drive.
Yeah.
I use Lightroom, the plain Lightroom, which is what they called mobile at one time. But in the last update, they added this local folder. So you can now browse any drive that is plugged into your computer. So these are, like, this is all my Smoky Mountains 2005. I also have it on my classic version, but I've just tapped into my Great Smoky Mountains. Actually, it's one that on one of my days that I was there, so I can actually access it. But you don't want to send it to the cloud. You just want to keep it on the hard drive itself. So, and then Lightroom works pretty well. It's just that you can't use outside plugins with this Lightroom, but it makes for a very nice browser because you can do so much with it, as much as you could with regular Lightroom Classic. But you don't want to shove it up in the cloud because that really is a different subscription. And here, like if I wanted to copy this one to the cloud, I do that right here, and I can send this one to the cloud. What you'd really want to do is keep all the images, and some people just put their very best to the cloud. I don't remember. Okay, there we go. My cloud has, well, I get because I'm a full subscriber, I get 100 gigabytes, and I've only used 8.6 out of all that.
You know, Jeff, what you were saying makes sense. And one thing I did not do, because I just grabbed my laptop before I took off, I didn't upgrade to the new version. You know, so I had an older version of Lightroom at the regular, so I don't remember seeing the local. But I will investigate this. But my last question to you is, now that I have all these photos in the cloud, how do I get rid of them? How do I empty my cloud?
Let's see, that's in Adobe's cloud. You can, trying to remember that you, let me check one spot. I don't work with it quite as that often that way, so I always have to think.
I didn't on purpose.
There's a place you can log into on the on a browser to get to your file.
Yeah, and I
don't know
think
that
that's
link
what you.
is.
Yeah. I'm just trying to look to see if I can get to it, or where I would get to it. It would be, there's just so many different ways to get to some of this stuff. Okay, if I go to the Photos app, not the Marketplace, it's not under Files. I thought it might be under Files, but it's not. Got that open. I mean, it could very well just be that you would, I think you might be able to just go, you must have created an album for those photos, and you could go into the album and then just start deleting photos.
Okay.
And I think that would do it.
Make sure you got those pictures saved somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
You also can go to Adobe's cloud. There is, let's see, I usually get there through Lightroom.
Well, Jeff, in Lightroom, you can delete, you can hit an X, and then you go up to edit.
Right.
And then you say, click on delete photo.
Yeah, and I think
pull them out of the cloud.
I think that's what it would do. I don't have anything that I want to delete, so so I don't know. I can't test it, but I think that is the way that you could do it. Is you know, just if you hit. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, so that removes it. So you got to go to all photos. Here. And then you should be able to hit. Yeah. This will.
Jeff.
Yeah.
In Lightroom, if you go to an album, if you got the photos in an album, you can do a right click on it and it'll come up and there'll be an option there to delete the whole album.
Yeah. Okay. But that may not delete the photos. When you work in an album, it's more like a collection in Lightroom Classic. So what you need to do is go into your all photos section here, and you could actually go to recently added. And this, now I'm in the all photos thing, and if I hit delete, I get this, which says, are you sure you want to delete? You're going to delete it from Lightroom Photos. You're going to delete it from albums and shares. Oh. And it's permanently gone, and after 60 days, you can't restore it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you have to do it from all photos and not from the album itself.
It works from the album.
No, if I go here in the album and I click delete, it removes it from the album, but it will, you can still find it in all photos.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's a little different.
Well,
so
don't delete any pictures until you get everything backed up, because
yeah. So you'd have to take an export, because you can share those pictures. Let's see.
Jeff, where do you see all photos in Lightroom? Not Classic, but Lightroom.
Right here. See where it says all photos?
Left side, middle of the screen.
Yeah. I've got 10,000 images in the cloud for Lightroom.
I see. Well, no.
So the simplest way is to go into an album, find the photos you want to get rid of, get them highlighted, and then go to all photos so that you can delete it.
I see. That's subtle.
Yeah, it does things differently, and I took a course on it with Matt Kluskowski, and he got into some of this, but he didn't do a lot with the cloud. He basically does everything using this local tab, which is working off of any hard drive.
You could tell it's developed by different engineers than Classic.
Yeah. So it's handy. I use it to, and I might use it for traveling, because I have a travel hard drive, and then I would just find it using the local tab here. I can do all the editing I want. It saves it all as metadata into the file, and then I can take that same drive and then import it into Lightroom Classic. That's how you could do it, using it both, using both Lightrooms. But otherwise, what I normally would do is I use Lightroom Classic on a travel hard drive and just have a travel catalog and use it that way.
I like that. I like that idea.
Yeah. So this would be a little easier, because then I don't have to do a catalog. I can just get everything in one spot on a hard drive, and then when I come back, I can use Lightroom Classic to import it all in.
Yeah.
So this has uses, but or if you wanted to, you can just use this instead of using Lightroom Classic, but it's a whole different type of workflow. So I thought about it for a little bit, but there's like 3 things that they don't have that I use a lot, and that is the slideshow module, the book module, and the print module in Lightroom Classic. I use all those, and Lightroom doesn't have that.
It also doesn't have plugins either, does it?
No, to use plugins, what you end up having to do is you take it from Lightroom, go into Photoshop, then you can use the plugins in Photoshop, finish it, and then bring it back into Lightroom. So it's a slightly different workflow than Lightroom Classic would be.
So
Jeff, I haven't found a
basically
way to
there's,
see the histogram. How do you see the histogram in here? I haven't found it.
Let's see if I go here, switch to detail view.
Oh,
it's
there
right
it
on
is.
the very top.
On the top of it. Okay. Thank you.
And sometimes I think this the button. It makes it go away. Nope, that's turns the highlights on and off. If you get into a solo mode, or single panel mode, they call it here, then sometimes that stuff will go away, gets hidden. But it should be right on top here most of the time, but I can't show clipping.
Jeff, I know when I was doing it, again, I didn't even know what I had on my laptop. It was just this Lightroom. And there's a certain way you can view, and you can turn on and off the different options. So I found it, couldn't tell you now where I found it, but histogram was one, the tools, the edit bars, all you could turn on and off.
Yeah, there is a way. Usually it's a right click to get rid of, and I thought maybe it might have been here. Choose edit settings, show original. Oh, here it is, show histogram. And then you can be in single mode, which works a little easier because then you're only got one panel open at a time, and usually you run out of space. So here, you can adjust the light, and then you've got color down here where you can adjust the color and white balance, and then you got your color mixer, point color, all the different stuff, your effects, which is your texture, clarity, and dehaze. So they reorganized this panel from what Lightroom Classic would have. They do have lens blur. It basically, though, is all the same stuff that's in Lightroom Classic. The only thing it can't do is plugins. So, I mean, you can crop.
You know, the one feature that I absolutely loved is on the bottom of your photo, the copy edit settings. It's so easy to duplicate a series of photos from what you just did.
Yeah, you can do that in Lightroom Classic too.
I didn't find it as easy. Like if you look down on the bottom there, you can copy, it'll pull up the screen there, and you can take the next 7 pictures and just hit the button, that same button that says paste edit settings.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
You can do it in Lightroom Classic. It's there's a sync photo and sync photos when you're in the develop module. So you can do it, and it can be sort of easy once you get the hang of it. But this works, this is a decent enough Lightroom too for doing some quicker things.
Yeah, this is Bob Christian. I just got back from a trip where I took almost 4,000 photos, and I never used this before, but I went through them with this instead of Bridge, and I found it an easier way to cull photos because I had a better image, and I could hit the auto button and see what it might look like. And then after I got rid of the ones I didn't want, I loaded the other ones back up into Classic.
Yeah, and that's how I would use it too. It's I definitely would be using it instead of Bridge because this lets you process everything, lets you star it. The only thing it doesn't do is color labels, which isn't a big deal. But it has stars and pick flags. And that stuff, as long as you have, let's see. I'm not, is it under general? I think with this, it writes everything to the metadata automatically, but I'm not sure.
It creates XMP files.
Okay, yeah. And if it's a DNG file, then it would write it into there. We'll write it into a JPEG file. So yeah, anything you do in here, it gets written into the metadata somehow, and then Lightroom Classic will be able to read it. But you have to do that workflow right, and you do not want to touch the cloud.
It does create XMP files, which are in addition to your raw
Right.
file.
Yeah.
And you have to do something Classic to get it to read those. It's not automatic, at least for me.
Those are known as sidecars. And you can do that you can set that up under the settings. And I know on the Mac you can do that. And you can turn the sidecar on or off.
See, now this image is actually a DNG file. So it's getting written into that DNG automatically. It's not doing a sidecar now. I don't know. This is when I was doing everything in DNG.
Right, but if you do it in RAW, for example, then it'll do a sidecar.
Yeah, if you did it like in an NEF, which is Nikon, which is, okay, that's that photo. So let's see if I could.
I have a quick question about the DNG.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
If I export it or whatever to a JPEG, does that metadata still stay there?
Yeah, it's all written. It gets permanently written into the JPEG file.
Okay, thank you.
So, but if I would do any processing like with this image, this is a raw file. So as soon as I move some of the things, let's see, I'd like to open up the shadows. This is Smoky Mountains from when I was there in 2005. Oh, these are old. And I didn't know as much. And the lens blur really works sort of nice for a lot of stuff. I'm using that a whole lot because it can really blur out the background nice. Probably doing this on. Okay, visualize depth. Gotta admit.
Yeah, blur the foreground.
It's not letting me refine it. Okay. I know there's supposed to be that bar. I don't get where they hit the bar on here. Blur amount. But if I would take, see, I want to just this in focus. Actually, it's going to be pretty much that way. That's weird. There's, but you can see it can blur the front what I really wanted to do is blur the back, but I think stuff's too far away. And I can't figure out where the bar is that I normally get that lets me adjust that better. That's weird. Oh, maybe it's in here. There it is. They got so many bars here. So now whatever's white is the stuff that's going to be affected. So if I adjust this and find just the right spot, turn that off. And now you can see I blurred the fence out and the background's blurred and just the trees sharp, which is really what I wanted when I shot the picture, although I'm not sure if I like how the fence looks. So, but now with all that stuff that I had done to this, if I pull up this image in my Finder, there should be, there's supposed to be a raw file, NEF, XMP file connected to this. Wonder why not. Take it this is that same shot. Yeah. Well,
Try
it would be an
going out,
XMP.
Jeff, try going out of the picture once and come back in.
Yeah, that might do it. Here I can. No, it's not writing it. But it is supposed to write an XMP file to it. Let's see. I don't remember if there was people view. Well, it's supposed to write an XMP file. I may not have this one set up because I generally don't use this one on this computer. Right now, it could be putting it all into the cache.
Jeff, I believe the Lightroom itself automatically writes the XMP, but in Lightroom Classic, you have to manually turn that on or off.
Yeah. Right now, I think it might, though. Yeah. It should be writing an XMP file to the NEFs. The DNG, it will write it into the file itself. Well, that's something I may have to check. I'll check into and let people know. I thought it did it automatically, but I'm not seeing anything that tells me that I'd have to do it. And this is the preference section, so. But if I go back there now, that's the raw file I did stuff to. Yeah, it didn't write it there, so I'm not quite sure. It's supposed to do that. Maybe it does it when I exit. I don't know if there's something down here. That's all that. That's adding keywords. That's my version. That's you got masking just like you do in Lightroom Classic. You got the healing stuff. You got the crop tool. You've got editing. You got different presets. You get to the cloud here. You got help. And if you want to share it, you can do that. if you want to send, you know, like that photo, well, whatever one I'm on, I can save that to the cloud just by clicking this, and it will go up to the cloud. Plus, it also keeps it on my regular hard drive, so. It's,
Can you go the other way? If it's in the cloud, can you bring it back to local?
you have to export it. And I don't think I can show that. Yeah. Here, if I want to, I can take whatever image and I can export that out and do it as a JPEG or any of these file types. And you can even do a custom so that if you wanted to do, you know, like our 2400 pixels on the long side and pick the quality, all the metadata, the file stuff, and even the color thing, and then you just would hit export one, or if you have a whole bunch of them selected, then you can set it up. It looks like too that you got a couple of different JPEG settings that you can export out too as well. Does that change if I go to DNG? No, I did see if you do the original plus settings, that's going to create that sidecar file. If I export the original, although this is probably a DNG, if I export that, and I don't want to go there because that just messes me up. So now I exported that out, and it should be on my messy desktop here. PNG. Well, maybe it didn't go there, huh? Oh, here it is. Yeah, it was a DNG file. And if I would double click this, it would open up in Photoshop. And it should actually gotta change that. And then when it opens in Photoshop, being that it's a DNG file, it opens it up in Camera Raw with all the settings that were on there, and then that's the raw photo.
In Lightroom Classic, I can sync pictures to the cloud. I take it that's a totally different storage area.
Right. And this, the albums in Lightroom are actually, if I go to cloud, these albums are the same thing as my collections that I'm syncing to the cloud. So I've got all these collections, and I don't know if I can't find the scroll part.
So I have a lot of collections that are synced to the cloud, but I don't run out of storage space from those.
Well, on the ones that you do in Lightroom Classic, they're not putting the full size image up there. They're creating more of a size image that will work on any of your devices so that you're able to see it. And then when you do something to the image, say here, if I would do something to this image in processing, That's easier.
I remember now that what they put out on the cloud in Lightroom Classic is a 1 megabyte file.
Yeah, that could be. I know it's a smaller file. I just don't know what size. But if I do this adjustment here, being that this is in the cloud, that adjustment will show up in Lightroom Classic under that collection. So, I forgot I had this shot. This was a neat shot. Can't wait to get back to the races. But, so yeah, if you do something to it here, it should be that if I brought in Lightroom Classic, I don't know how fast it would be. Let's see, because I do have Lightroom Classic up. This is 2014 yearbook. So that would be, I wish they made this stuff for people that have bad eyesight.
I remember that tree, Jeff.
You do?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of shots of that tree. 2014 yearbook. So that should be up near the top here. Did I put that in a collection set? Huh. I thought I got so many collections.
I thought I saw a yearbook collection there.
A set?
A yearbook? It was down farther.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it could be. Wonder if it's in here.
Yeah, right there, right there.
Says yearbooks.
Oh yeah, yearbooks. Okay. So 2014, and that is this end one here, I believe. So it looks like, yeah, it looks like it updated it.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the same, and it, yeah, that goes to the cloud, and then it, so it works, but it's, yeah, it's not a full-size file. So that can get to be a trick. But the Lightroom does have, you know, it works pretty well. And if you want to do albums, you know, that's the same as a collection, of course. But it's really, to me, since they added this local part, that really makes changes that you could use Lightroom when you're traveling or doing stuff, because all that information will get saved to that file.
I loaded Classic on my wife's laptop, so I using that when we travel, and then I keep it all stored on an external drive, and at the end I'll just export a catalog and then onto that drive, and then plug it into my other computer and import it in.
That's what I was doing when I traveled. Is I would do that exact same thing. I had what I called a travel catalog, and 2 travel hard drives that went with me, and because I wanted one and then a backup of the images, so I had 2 drives, and then I would just, you know, import into Lightroom Classic in that travel one. I could edit them, I could delete, do all that, and then I just, yeah, you just take that travel catalog and then import it into your regular catalog. Now, I'm going to change that, and I will use Lightroom, the regular Lightroom now that's out, and just dump everything on the hard drive the way I want it, and use regular Lightroom to go through and get rid of the bad stuff, and then I can just import that whole hard drive into Lightroom Classic. So I have the way that I'm going to do it, but everybody needs to figure out their way. But yeah, you don't want to touch the cloud because you don't get much storage. Yeah, and here's where you can update edits to the cloud, and it will do that too. So if I can view in the cloud, so that's that one viewed in the cloud, I guess. I'm still learning it.
Is there any problem in using standard Lightroom if you don't have an internet connection?
As long as you're not sending stuff to the cloud with Lightroom, it works fine.
Mhm.
You don't need an internet connection. The only time, because you're doing everything on the local hard drives instead of the cloud. If you wanted to do stuff on the cloud, then you need the internet. Here, you just need a hard drive plugged in, and then you can browse wherever. You can see these are all the hard drives that I have on this computer, which is quite a few. So, but the nice part is you can pick out and just do your favorites over here. So I just have my photo archive. I've got my drive for the camera club, and I got a drive for Wacko somewhere in here. So for that, it works out real nice for just browsing different hard drives.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that if I'm traveling, I can't rely on having a internet connection every day.
Right, right. And you wouldn't need it as long as you're not sending anything to the cloud. So it would work, just like Lightroom will work for up to about 60 days, and then it needs a internet connection for a short time. Any other questions?
I don't know if Linnea's still around, but I'd like to thank her for asking the question.
Yeah.
Because we've been talking about this for about over half an hour. Thank you, Linnea.
Oh my gosh, I just wish we would have had this conversation a week and a half ago, but at least it prompted, my experience prompted this. So thank you, everybody.
I learned a lot. Thank you.
Well, something definitely important.
Yeah, this new version of Lightroom has a lot of good capabilities, but you need to understand them a little bit more. It was really designed originally for young people that have phones, and because all the stuff on my phone actually ends up in the cloud, and then I can access it with Lightroom. So I think somewhere in here is, yeah, well, I've got 10,000 photos, and most of those photos are the ones that are on my phone right now. Because I use...
Jeff, Tim Gray has a YouTube presentation comparing Lightroom CC and Lightroom, and it's really quite excellent. So I'd recommend anybody that wants to really get even more in depth than what Jeff's presented tonight, take a look at it. It's really quite good.
There's actually quite a few different photographers.
Yeah.
Matt Klaskowski has a whole course on Lightroom.
Right.
I actually ended up buying that and watching in it, because there was a lot of stuff that I didn't understand where it was in this Lightroom. So it was really helpful to know, you know, if you want to, it wasn't a simple, I still have a hard time, and I have to search on how do I get to edit the photo in Photoshop. And I think the easiest is to right click on it, and then you can edit in Photoshop. Because there's still times that you may want to go to Photoshop and then it brings it back and stores it on that hard drive that you've got. So, you know, that works out really nice. You know, if I hit that, and then I'm in Photoshop and I could, come on, where is it? Here. My favorite tool, the remove tool. If I could draw a straight line, it'd be even better. But, you know, you could do whatever you'd want to be working on in Photoshop.
Isn't there a magic key for doing a straight line?
It could be that if I held down the shift key, that may do it. Let's see once. Yeah. Hold the shift key down and then it will draw a straight line. So, and then you've got all your capabilities of Photoshop. When you're done, it just automatically, it brings it back in. Now, right now, I think I've got it set, it comes back in as a TIFF file.
And this is where you can do the, go to other programs from here too, can't you, Jeff?
Right, yeah, when you're in Photoshop, then you can use all your plugins. So, all right, it should be, yeah, here's the TIFF one that I just did. So it got rid of all those lines. I mean, it's a so-so shot. That's probably when I'll be getting, well, I kept it because I was going to play with it. I'll crop it and bring out the sky, because this is, and you can do HDR, except I don't have the third shot, so I may have gotten rid of that somewhere. But you can do HDR. It's probably easiest to do it this way. Not export it. Photo merge, there it is. So you can do everything that you know, you could in Lightroom. Don't need to ghost. I do like to create a stack. And it won't let me do that though. Not like anything's moving there. Oh, maybe because I didn't have it stacked. And then you click merge. And then that's the new one with the 3 images merged. Now, here's the HDR one. Wonder if I can stack that. Because I really like to keep all that stuff. I thought it said you could stack. Oh, stacks. Huh. Oh, but maybe that's in between 2 drives. I don't know. Huh. I don't know why it's grayed out. That's weird.
You're highlighting 4 photos.
Yeah, but when you're stacking, you could stack any of the photos, and I want to group them into a stack.
Yeah.
With this one, with the HDR one being on top, because now I don't need to look at those, but
Right,
there must be, and it's usually Option G, but yeah, it doesn't want to let me do it, but yeah, it's all right. I'm messing up my. Now this image won't show up in my Lightroom because I'm actually working in my regular Lightroom Classic hard drive, so I'll have to go back and sync Lightroom Classic so like this image would show up. And that's one way that you can also do, if you do happen to work on stuff outside of Lightroom Classic, that's how you would end up making sure it gets into the Lightroom Classic catalog. Got a lot of good stuff. I've got a lot of years of Smoky Mountains. I'm up to 2013 for getting rid of stuff. And 2013, I shot over 5,000 images, and I've got it down to 2,400. And I got 14 and 18 yet to do. But any other questions on it? It's a nice browser, though. It works pretty fast. And you can go through them pretty quickly. And I'm not working with an extremely fast hard drive, so it's pulling them up pretty fast. Been a long time since I've been to this waterfall. This is Grotto Falls in the Smoky Mountains. It's about a 2-mile hike up a trail that goes up in height from a couple hundred feet to about 1,200 feet. Really fun trying to carry all that gear up that path to get to this little water. It's a little waterfall, but it's a pretty waterfall. One year I hauled up my 4x5. Talk about not being able to shoot a lot. I brought the 4x5, a tripod, and 10 film holders, which was 20 shots. And that all weighed about 45 pounds in carrying. Little different from digital today. But Smokies is a fun place to go to. Oops.
It's ironic that I was looking at my Smoky Mountain photos.
Yeah,
the other day, Jeff.
I noticed that. I saw your email, and I go, "Oh, I'm working on 2013, which had you and I and Ken."
Mm-hmm.
I think that was, yeah, it was colder, so I think that was spring though. I should switch to, but let me get out of this. Yeah.
Your date says it was October.
October? Okay, so then that was fall. Yep. I still know regular Lightroom a lot better. I'll go down here because this is my, Brian mentioned this is my favorite tree in the Smoky Mountains on Roaring Fork Road. It's got this huge grapevine. And every year I make them stop and we photograph it. I have at least 20 years of photographs of that vine, so. So let's see here. I was going to show. I can find a decent image here. That lens blur, you know, maybe it'd be easier if I did an orchid shot. Yeah. What is that mess? Huh. Wonder how that purple scribble got on there. Did somebody do that to me, or did I do that?
That was me. I was just messing around.
Oh, you were able to do that, huh?
Yeah, I was like, oh, what? I was like, what does this do?
Oh, that's interesting. What tool was that,
It was
Clint?
when you go to the left where the bottom left where the mute button, right
Yeah.
above it, there's a little cursor
Oh,
which shows animate. So you can click on that and then I can circle and highlight whatever I want. So that's
Oh, okay.
new.
looks like a little pencil.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to play with that. Something new to play with.
You might want to
Well,
mute that for everybody else.
yeah, I'm going to have to look on the Zoom thing and see if there's a way I can control that more.
Anybody want to play tic-tac-toe?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Well, I was going to show a
Jeff
decent
made
way of
already the
using.
boxes for us.
Yeah. How lens blur works. That would be a good use for it. And that, yeah.
Okay, someone plays the next.
Yeah. Clint's got his new toy. I don't know. But, and everybody, if you don't know, the Orchid Show is going through March, so it's a good time to still get over there. But instead of me worrying about shooting a narrow depth of field now, I end up using that lens blur. And it really works well for blurring out your background, especially on flowers. Sometimes you have to do a little bit of extra with it. It does need the internet, so it does take a little while. But after you click it on, then you click on the visualize depth. And because I'm doing Lightroom, and then you can move these handles, and anything that's white will stay sharp, and anything that's black will be out of focus. Now, if you want to blur something, say like this leaf here, or part of the flower, I can click the blur. Auto mask won't help me, but you can change the size, and it's just a brush that you can paint that, and you can paint it out. And as long as you get it to be a darker color like it's going here, and then you can keep going over it, and you can see how it's going to make it more blurrier. And there is sort of you can adjust the softness of the brush in that. And I would probably even do this here. Yeah, I know I'm pushing a computer. I don't know if I'd want to keep the stem or not sharp, but I'm going to blur it out. This is what you call pushing it to the limit. But then you can adjust that blur, and you can really, blur that background out so to make it like you have a nice shallow depth of field.
I ask, where did you get the early access to that lens blur? How do you download it?
That comes with the current versions of Lightroom.
Okay, so I thought I had that. So do you have to do regular updates or something to?
Yeah, you do need to
Okay.
be on, I forget, it's 13, 14? Well, they added it a couple of things ago, but it would have to be on version 13 release or newer. We're up to 13.2.
Okay, I'm on 13.1. Okay, I'll have to check. Thank
It
you.
should be on 13.1 because it's been there for a little while. But, now you've got it and you've blurred out the background nice. And then what I end up doing is I go into masking and click subject.
I didn't see this
Everything
blurred out
has.
the background.
What?
You highlighted those areas, but it didn't blacken them, it didn't darken them.
Yeah, no, it didn't darken them, but it blurred them out.
Okay, it doesn't get rid of them, it just defocuses them.
No,
Sorry. Yeah.
no, it just blurs them more.
blurs
and
them,
then
okay.
if you want, then I end up going into the masking and taking the brush because I want this
I
one
see. Okay.
to be, I don't want that, this one or this one showing. Everything else is about right. And then I can darken my background. Whoops, except that's right. I've got
You have to invert it.
duplicate and invert. And then if I want to clean it up just a bit because I got a little sloppy. There and there. That's pretty good. Now I can darken the background down. And now the background's blurred and a little darker. And now I got a decent flower. Now, when I also have a photo frame, which needs to have the image cropped to a 16:9 format. And I'll tell you, that's the one thing that I started using Photoshop for. And it really works nice. Oh yeah, open in beta. I got the beta going. And of course there's a new version of beta. Should be in there. Okay, beta, where'd you go? Must be behind it. Ah, still working. I got the computer doing too many things here. But I'll show you that if you crop and you want to do a 16:9 crop and you actually want to add stuff to it, this one's sort of simple. But I did this on all mine so it would fit into my photo frame, and it didn't take me hardly any time. And then you hit generative expand and generate. You don't have to add any wording. Now this will not be allowed in Wacko. I think it should be, but it's not going to be allowed in Wacko. Yeah. Come on, go away. I don't want to go to the videos. I just want to. And then it gives you 3 versions to pick from. And you can decide which one you like. With this, it didn't do all that much different. I don't want to go to the video. I don't know how I make her disappear.
Hi, I'm Anna McNaught. Let me show you how to go from this starting image.
They have added in the beta stuff these nice little discovery videos, which I need to figure out how to turn off. But you could see it did a really nice job of adding what I had cropped out originally. And it really does a nice job of, you know, filling in when you need to expand an image. And it's using really what part of the image and just, you know, filling it in like it should. But I'll show you here's one that I use the generative expand, that's the expanded version. This is what it started from. And Photoshop expanded it to that. And I thought that was pretty slick on how it just matched everything up and going from a vertical. Come on. Lightroom and come on there. So that, you know, see that vertical. One that it also did a really neat job on was this one here where I did a bunch of funny stuff to it. Here's the generative expand. And look at the detail I still got with the floor. They matched the bricks up and the perspective of the bricks. It added all this stuff on the sides, just like I had in the photo. And I mean, it started from that. I think that's just amazing what they can do now. And it's pretty sharp too. Yeah. I mean, this is out of focus for the background, but you look at some of this stuff and it's not, when you look at it, when I look at it on my screen on the video frame that I have, which is a 16 by 24 video frame, this just looks gorgeous. And it just is amazing what you can do. Here is, this one's expanded. It said amazing, and it was a vertical shot as well. And you can see what AI did to expand that. You didn't know better. It did a really slick job with it. So generative expand has uses. You may not use it for competitions, but there are uses like this where if you've got something and you're a little close to an edge, generative expand is going to fix that for you. But most of these flowers I've all used the generative expand and just expanded it. But otherwise, all these flowers, I did the same thing as I showed you on that first flower. I blurred out the background using the blur tool in Lightroom, and then I used the mask to darken. Oh, and Linnea, if you wanted to copy from, say, this image to the next image, all the settings, you just have to go down here to previous and click that, and it applies it from the last image you had to the next image that you do.
Oh my gosh, Jeff, thank you.
And if you want to do a whole group of them, all you have to do is, let me get down to my threes. Say, I like how that image is, and I would have this image highlighted, click these here, and I can click sync. It will do all this stuff, even with the masking. Hit synchronize.
Wow, I obviously did not watch the right YouTube video. Thank you.
So now all these should be similar. The only thing it didn't do is crop it. And the lighting's probably different, but it applies, you know, quite a lot of it. Even masking it will apply. I think if I turn this masking on, it will actually show the inverted mask then. So that, and it creates a new mask for each image to match what I did on that first image. So all that stuff gets transferred over. And then all you'd have to do, it looks like this flower is a little darker than the rest of my flowers, so I would probably just brighten it up, or actually be better if I went into my number 1 mask and just brighten the flower. And a number inverted mask, I could just darken the background a little more. But you can do a whole series of them, and it just automatically creates the mask for everyone. And all of a sudden, I've got a whole bunch of them now that are pretty close to being done. The only thing that really it would need is cropping. And adjusting the exposure a little bit more. But here, if I go again, mask number 1, just the flower. Brighten that up a little more. Mask number 2. And just darken that a little. So you just would have to tweak it, and most of the work is already done for you. And then,
Thank you, Jeff.
yep, no problem.
Yeah, a lot of great information.
Yeah, as long as I get to play, I'm happy. I just like to sit behind my computer and do this all day. I'm having a ball going through my Smoky Mountain stuff. But yep, works pretty slick. What else is there? Let's see. They do have point color is a new thing they added not too long ago, where if you wanted to just adjust one particular color, take the eyedropper and you find that color, click on it, and now you can adjust the color, the hue of it. So you can shift the hue just a certain amount. You can adjust the saturation, which is my favorite. I love saturation in that. And I can brighten or darken that color. So I can make like those veins stand out a little bit more. And if I needed to, I can change the range of the color area that I can work with. If I click visualize settings, I believe it will actually show it in a black and white type way. So you can see how you can change just a specific color in your photo by using point color. And then if you want to do a different color, say I got in here, now, and you can move it by the cursor here or here. And you can see this is the luminosity shift. So I can darken that color a little bit. So now where it didn't have that much color, I can bring more color into that flower. And if I wanted to, I can change it and add a little more warmth to it, make it a little more red. See how much I can change and pick what I'd like to do with that color of that flower, just using point color. So that's something else that they just added in version 13.
Yeah, there's a big difference between before and after.
Yeah. Here, and I can show you. Here's before, and there's after.
Wow.
A lot of things you can do without even going into Photoshop. Their denoise, it works really well. It creates a brand new raw file for you, and it will get rid of the noise. It works just about as good as Topaz, not quite, but if you don't want to have to spend $200 on Topaz Photo AI, this is built into Lightroom and it will do a pretty darn good job with it. I don't know, this one I don't think needs it. It doesn't look like it, and I think it was pretty bright in there. Yeah, this is ISO 250, so was a little underexposed, but that's not a big deal. But denoise works pretty well. So you don't have to buy a lot of plugins. Lens blur should be near the bottom. It's still, they call it still early access.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, you got vignetting's been there a long time. Oh, what else did they add? This only works if you've got a high resolution screen, high dynamic range screen. If you click this, it will help show you the extended colors if you had it for that type of screen. SDRs are normal screens, and that's what we're seeing with Zoom and most of our computers. But if you have a higher color gamut screen, Lightroom now has it so that you can actually see that and make adjustments for it. Not something that a lot of people are going to end up using. You can, it will also help you visualize what colors may be out of gamut, and that would be supported in the HDR screen, but I don't think it's something that I'm going to use too much. Let's see, what else is, yep.
Jeff, got a question for that HD, Gamic or whatever that you had, that HDR, with the high resolution screen and that, we won't even be able to print that, right? Because I mean, we won't even be able to, the printers won't even recognize that.
Some of the new printers could print HDR colors.
Okay.
It's just that you can't see it with most of the screens. Most of those screens are $2,000-$3,000 for one screen. So not many people are getting into that much. So most places, if you send it out to be printed, still are going to want an sRGB. But yeah, if you've got one of the brand new Epson printers or Canon printers that have like 10 or 12 inks in it, that can actually print Adobe RGB color, which is pretty close, is a little bit more actually than what HDR would be.
Okay.
But HDR is coming, and the screens are going to get cheaper, and you're going to want to start using them one of these days. Let me see if I can find. I'll show you a couple things quick and photo. Oh, we do. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. Maybe we should just call it quits. But in Photoshop, they added presets that you can actually do, so that if and get out of that part. But up here in adjustments, they now have different presets that you can do automatically. If you want to add pop to the image, it's not doing a whole lot. Well, it does a little bit. Here, if I go to this one, which is black and white, you can see the difference. But as you scroll over it, it actually changes them. And then if you click on it, it creates these groupings. I don't want that. Just want to close the grouping. And you can turn those on and off. But you can also create your own presets if you wanted to. And they're basically just adjustment presets. If you do, here's a negative, black and white negative, color pop, cross
Jeff,
processing.
will my Lightroom Classic presets be visible here?
No, these are different types of presets than
Okay.
that. The Lightroom presets, yeah, those are different than just in the develop module.
Right,
These
okay.
are, what these really are adjustment. It would be this here, adjustment preset. And it's basically a color balance and curves and all that where they're grouped together and somebody's just made it up.
So we can't add our own presets.
You
in here.
can make your own, yeah.
Okay.
You could actually tweak these if you wanted to, if you get into it here. And I go like, say, this one has a brightness and contrast. It should be somewhere in here.
Then you can save it.
Yeah. Here's where you can put your own presets. I haven't done it yet, but you should be able to, yeah, there it is. So now I can adjust that preset to get what I want, and then I could end up probably saving that as a new preset. Is that this box here, maybe? No. All right. But and the landscape pop just really had just this one contrast and brightness contrast. So it's something new. I don't know how much I've always just used, you know, most of these in here manually, but yeah, now you have the adjustments with different ones that you can use here.
I think you use that plus sign, Jeff, to make your own.
Yeah.
No, go back up, go back up. See the plus sign right below?
Yep.
there?
Yeah, that should actually take.
Yep.
And then I can adjust, create.
You can save it then.
Yeah. So that's something new that was in Photoshop. It hasn't been that much other than the AI stuff, which, you know.
Pretty soon you won't be able to even have to touch your picture. Like, just fix my picture, make it more more beautiful.
But I still think the generative expand just works so slick. Now you do have a certain number of these that you can do per month. So I'm not too worried because I get 1,000 credits worth. So I'd have to do an awful lot before I'd run out per month. But look at how that just expanded it on the sides. I turned it, add that, you know, it added a pine tree here because there was a little bit of pine tree there. So if you get a little close, that really does a nice job.
Yeah, you would never know. I mean, if you submitted that, you would almost not even know that it was AI generated.
Yep.
No way.
So it's interesting. Trying to think. I don't think there's really. The remove tool is my favorite tool for getting rid of stuff. That's under the spot healing brush section. That remove tool will get rid of anything that you don't really like and make it blend. You do need to be on a blank layer, but say I didn't like this little branch here, I could remove it. And even like say this pine, I don't know if I'd like all that there.
Jeff?
and it does a pretty good job with it.
Jeff, for the presets, I just put in the chat room a link that goes through exactly how to set that up with, and some really good examples of making presets in Photoshop.
Okay, great. Yeah, I haven't read all about them yet because I don't use a lot of presets. I'd rather create all my own stuff. I wonder if they have, go to that. Isn't that funny? They got this discovery thing that bothers me when I don't want it. And now when I'd love it to pop up and teach me something, somewhere in here. It's not this, is it? That's beta feedback. Discover. Generative AI, creating variations, adding. Yeah, that's kind of stuff that I don't want us doing. But yeah, usually they have help stuff on some of this stuff that would, you know, be nice if it would show up for this, because I don't remember what's all new in beta, and actually it's telling me there's a new update to the beta. So, but yeah, that should be enough. We're past 9 o'clock, so.
I think people would still be here till midnight, you know, listening to this.
Listening to me gab on about what you can do in Photoshop and Lightroom, huh?
Hey, this is one of the most informative Camera Club meetings that we've ever had, in my estimation.
No, I agree. I mean, it's
Thank
a lot
you.
of information.
This is excellent. Thank you.
Yep, you covered a lot. It was great.
Yeah, thank you everyone for your great questions and that, and thank you for coming out tonight, you know, joining you know, this Zoom meeting. Unfortunately, you know, our main Lewis wasn't able to make it. Well, he was able to make it, but you know, things happen. So, but we had a really nice backup plan. So thank you, Jeff. And thank you.
Well, I always
asking
have
those
some
questions.
stuff, something to do, but yeah, we'll have to make sure, because you know that can happen to any of us when we're getting presenters. Normally, I would make Clint or Kenna co-host.
Well, what's
because
nice
you
is
guys
that-
are separate, and then if my internet would go out, you guys would be able to keep going. But
What is nice in that, I mean, we've had that with what? Mike, not Mike. Who does the volcano and tornadoes?
Mike Mazul.
Yeah, Mike. I remember he had to cancel too, and that, you know, things come up,
Yeah.
life happens.
Oh yeah.
So, but no, I think this was a really nice, you know, backup plan that what we did. We learned a lot tonight.
Good. Well, I work with this stuff every day, so.
So thank you everyone for coming out tonight, and I'm going to take off. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see everybody. You take care. See you next month for Mike Montz.
Good night.
Good night.